Welcome to the third video in the series Introducing Functional Programming Using Scheme. This video looks at style and materials. The video is based on materials created by Professor Mark Cavazza of the University of Greenwich. And my name is Andy Wicks. So what will we cover in this video? Well, we're going to say hello to Guy Steele and Gerald Sussman. They're the people who created Scheme. We're going to look at how a functional program works, and we're going to look at its use of brackets. Brackets are really important in functional program. They tell you where things happen. Then we're going to look at how to lay out code. And it's good manners to lay out code correctly. Good manners help you as well as the person who's looking at your code. Then we're going to look at how to add comments. And finally, we're going to look at what materials are out there to help you program in Scheme. So let's get going. Guy Steele and Gerald Sussman are the people who are responsible for Scheme. They're not responsible for functional programming, but they were early adopters. Functional programming relies on input, process, output. Let me explain. If you have some sort of input, that could be anything. That could be the user typing something in, reading from a file, taking something that's being copied from a screen, anything, some sound, a mouse click, anything like that needs to be processed. Now that process has to rely on some input. If there's no input, what are you processing? There's little point to the process if there's no input. So that process could be any of those actions that I've just described, that reading from a file, clicking, and so on. And that then produces some output. The output is there so that you know what has happened as a result of this process. If there's no output, why do the process? So you need all three steps to get any sort of useful work out of your computer program. You need to have input, process, and output. And that's the basis of functional programming. A functional program takes the output from one function and allows you to use it as the input to the next function. So you can chain these functions together to produce a program that does things for you. Functional programming links one function to another, and the way you know which order the functions are being processed in is by the use of brackets. These separate the functions, as you'll see in a moment. The brackets are absolutely crucial. No brackets, no functional programming. But what that does mean is that you can break your program down into separate parts. And these separate threads can then be run on separate systems. So you can distribute your program amongst separate computers far more easily. And that, of course, will make your program run much faster. So something like WhatsApp would run far slower if it were just running on one processor at a time. We've got to use the correct layout when creating code. Using the incorrect layout will leave your code looking awful. So let's have a look at what some layout rules would be. Well, if you're reading a program of linked functions, reading that is really difficult. So Racket highlights each function and its subfunctions when you click just after a bracket. But let's consider this particular program. As you can see, reading this program is not easy. I'm not going to explain the program. That happens in week 12. But this particular piece of code works, it runs. If I show you that, you can see that it produces the output expected. It actually produces the square root of 77 by a technique called Newton-Raphson. But that's not important at the moment. Here, that code is fairly impenetrable. You can put some comments in, as I have here, the semicolon telling you that this is the recursion step, and the semicolon saying this is the base case. Those are comments because we're using a semicolon. Anything after a semicolon is ignored, and using comments in functional programming is pretty important because you'll never work out what's happening without them. They were important in Python, but they're even more important here. So how do we make this code look better? Make it a little more understandable? Well, for that, we need Control and I, and that indents everything for us. So if I click somewhere, Control and I, and now you can see that everything has been indented correctly, and the brackets for compound functions have been put underneath each other. That makes reading the code much easier, and that's something that you'll be expected to do in industry and on your course. So having looked at indenting and having looked at making comments, now let's have a look again at some of the materials that you could use to make your life here easier. There are two kinds of materials. Some people prefer books. There is an excellent book called Little Schema by Daniel Friedman. Costs about £30 and you can get it online. But if you're not into buying expensive books, you may be interested in some of these websites. These websites are listed in the comments below this video. If you find other sites that you think are particularly helpful, please post those in the comments section, because that would be really interesting for everybody to know about. So thank you very much for this, and I'll see you in the next video.